We got a small custom field we got to take care of today. And then we've got like a 3.5 acre field that we're probably going to bale tomorrow of my own. I just decided I don't really feel like baling it today. One, because it's got a lot of weeds in it, really thick stem weeds, and I want to let it probably give it another day to dry out. I just don't feel like it's going to be cured out for me. It's an organically farmed field. This is actually the last time I'm cutting it, parting ways with the field, just because it's really hard to get to with my equipment. I personally don't have a use for the organically farmed field. I can't get a manure spreader in there to spread manure if I wanted to fertilize it organically. Personally don't have a manure spreader, and to hire someone to spread it, they can't get a large spreader in there. So with that being said, we're going to bale that tomorrow most likely. Today we're going to take care of a custom field. I tedded it out this morning. Now I'm greasing up the rake. I got to do a few things to it. So this curtain here normally hangs super low. It droops really low. It's because these things in here, they've just worn out, and the proper fix would be to get some bushings made, and that is probably what we will do this winter. Get some bushings made in here and try to get that fixed properly. But for now, I'm just shoving pieces of tin down in these cracks here to try and prevent it from drooping forward too bad. So I already have the front pin right there done. It leveled it out pretty good, and we're going to try to stick one in the back yet and get it a little bit more shored up. It's not a permanent fix because you can still see the curtains hitting the ground right there. As it sits there, it sits a lot better than it was sitting. Don't know how long these things will stay in here, and actually over time these things will compress even more, and then it'll keep drooping, but it'll work for now. So this is actually a fairly old rake. It's not a very new model. You look at it, it looks pretty rough. It's seen better days, and that's because it's an old rake. It's a GA 4120. The model that came after this was the 4220, I believe. And the 4220, correct me if I'm wrong, it had a curtain that could fold up, which I find a much better design than this here. This design here, like this curtain's really heavy, and it puts all that weight on these two pins right here. Bushings wear out, all that kind of stuff. But if it's able to fold up, it doesn't have all that weight drooping on it. And two, it folds out of the way better for road travel. I hate this style right here because this style right here, even with it folded up all the way at, like it is right now, I got at least another foot. I mean, and this whole curtain's bent too. So I got at least another foot on the outside here for road travel, which makes it a pain. Sometimes actually what I do is I just pull this whole thing off, which is why I took the pins out of here. Normally there's roll pins in here. I took them out so that I could pull the curtain off and lay it on the rake sometimes if I'm going down the road or if I have to go through a tight gate. Looking into the future, a rake is probably going to be one of our next purchases. So we did a tedder last year. The tedder was the bottleneck. This year we're finding that this rake is the bottleneck. Last week I actually had someone else rake the hay for me just because I knew it was going to take me so long to rake with this. When I'm doing my smaller patches, this rake is great. But when I'm trying to do larger batches of hay, you know, hiring someone else, honestly, it costs me the same amount of money. Just because of the sheer time and fuel that I'm burning with my tractor, it costs the same to have someone else come in and do it for me. So that's what I did last time, and it gave me time to, you know, set up the baler and get to baling and stuff. So rake is probably going to be something in the future. If anybody's interested in a rake and you want to shoot me an offer, let me know. It's a GA 4120 Coon. We've done a lot of work to it, and the entire inside of the rotary system has been rebuilt. 2 years ago we did that because I blew it apart when I hit a groundhog hole. So that whole center system is literally new from the inside out. New wheel bearings, new spindles and axles and stuff. Thing runs great, runs down the road great. It's a solid, tight machine. It just looks rough because it was abused by the previous owner. But we've taken care of it and done a lot of work to it. So again, if someone wants to offer me something for it in GA 4120, let me know in the comments below. Well, I changed my mind. I decided I was gonna bale this hay today. It looks like it's about ready, and yeah. Oh yeah, that stuff's definitely ready. It's decent stuff, but there are sections in here that have got really heavy weeds. We'll see when we're raking. If it looks like it's crappy stuff, I'm lifting the rake up and I'm not raking it. It's not a heavy crop, but it is a crop, and it's the last one I'm gonna make in here. Yeah, that's decent stuff there. So anyway, set the rake down, we'll get her knocked out today. A few hours later, some hazy sunshine. This hay, that's very dry. That's crunchy dry. I know by the feeling of this hay that it's gonna, these leaves are just gonna bust apart like powder. Even this really nice stuff, it's just, I mean, look at that. I just squeeze it and it busts apart in my hand. Now, I could technically leave this hay alone till this evening until a dew starts setting on it, and I can bale it with a dew that will hold on to the leaves. And again, the dews around here lately have just been incredibly heavy, and I'm afraid that if I don't hit that timing just right, we're gonna end up having wet hay and not dry hay. Still gonna make good hay because it's gonna hold on to the leaves, just they're gonna be powder. I guess we will lose some, but that's part of it. Alfalfa is a tricky game. It's a game that I do like to play. Yeah. I don't have my moisture tester with me, so I can't test them right now. But just by feeling them, they sure feel dry. Lots of leaf in there. So for what the hay was when I cut it, which was weedy, and actually here's an example of a weed. This is not an alfalfa stem, I don't think. Actually, maybe that might be one. Here we go. Here's one of those weed stems. They were, I don't know if it was pigweed, but they were yay tall, so like they were up to my stomach. Big coarse stem like that, but it looks like we got it dry. But other than that, you know, pretty fairly clean stand of hay. Other than that pigweed, obviously this field doesn't have any sort of weed control or anything, so there's lots of little stuff like this, but you know, is what it is. Still made some decent hay this time around. Here you go. That is still completely wet right there. That's one of those weeds. Can't really do much about it though. Hopefully that doesn't ruin the bales, but other than that, it's not terrible looking hay. They are heavy bales because last time I used the baler was a couple days ago and I was rebaling a bunch of loose stuff in the barn, and when I rebale, I can't feed it as fast as I would if I was actually baling, so I gotta set the tension really high and the bale length longer, and I did not set the tension back to where it was, but we will do that right now. I think I had it 3 extra cranks. Anyway, I'll fix this and we're gonna go bale some custom stuff quick, and then we'll be wrapped up for the day. Well, this stuff is quite disappointing. This is a dryer bale and it's all over the place. Really thought this stuff was dry. It was like, I mean, I showed you, I picked it up in my hand and I squeezed it and the leaves were falling off. I'll kind of check one of these stems here. I mean, it's not really that waxy. Definitely not waxy. Maybe my moisture tester's off or something, because it sure did not feel like it. I mean, it didn't feel like it's saying it's 24%. I mean, it's saying that every one of these is 24%. Now there was a grass one that was, I know was drier. That's 11.5. But then you put it in here and it jumps way up again. So not really sure what happened. After some further examination, it might be just spotty, because there's a 15. This one was 13. That one's 17-ish. That's fine with alfalfa. I'm fine with that. Probe it in there. That one might be a little higher. 18, 19. I don't know. Seriously did not feel that wet. These bales don't even feel that heavy. Yesterday I baled this wagon of hay here. Thought it was really nice. Then last night I was testing some moistures and it wasn't really what I was expecting it. But it sat outside overnight. I left it on the wagon. I don't normally do that. The reason I'm doing that though is because I have a load of hay going out today, and it's just so much easier to load it right off the wagon onto my truck. One, because the flatbed is right here. I can just toss them off. And two, it saves me from putting it in the barn and then putting it back on the truck. So it saves me one step, and I don't have to hire a bunch of guys to help me throw hay. Even though it's one wagon, I can do it by myself. I'm rambling. We're loading up the hay right now, and I'm testing some bales as I throw them on, and it's really just wet flakes here and there. And typically with wet flakes, they will cure out. We did put preservative on this hay. Most of the hay, you know, is testing, I would say 14 to 17, maybe 14 to 18. So it's within the kind of tolerable range for alfalfa that I like. The wet flakes are anywhere from 20 to even some up to 30, but kind of that 20 to 25 range. So I think they will cure out. And if they do kind of must and mold, it's not going to do the whole bale. It's just kind of little wet flakes here and there. But what I'm noticing is just because it was a little bit on the wetter side, because it was baled around that 18% mark, the leaf retention is just so much better than what you get in 10 or 11 or 12 or 13% alfalfa. Here's a perfect example. So this right here, we'll throw the tester in to kind of get an idea of what this particular spot is testing. So right there, this spot is testing 17.5%, and you can see the leaf retention that we get on it is just so much better. We get really good color. Obviously this was sitting on the bottom side after we tedded it. We only tedded it once, so that's why this stuff is just so green, because it didn't get any sun exposure. Stems are just a tiny bit waxy, and that's kind of why it's a little bit on the higher percentage. If we probe this end of the bale, I think this was way drier. Yeah, see how that's 13.3, 13.4. And still, you can see the leaf retention in here. It's still pretty good, but it's not like this stuff right here. You get that little bit higher moisture. You can get those leaves to stick on the bale there. So that's why you see sometimes guys, when they're baling alfalfa, they will bale it in the evening if they can, or maybe try to bale some of it in the evening. That way, kind of you get that dew to start set on it. Just add a few points of moisture just so it holds on to the leaves and it doesn't go busting apart. That's why you see out west, guys are using steamers. It adds that moisture so that you can hold on to those leaves better. When you hold on to those leaves, it makes alfalfa a lot less dusty and just overall kind of a better feed, because you know you're holding on to the leaves. It's not just turning into powder and dust. I'm going to stack most of these bales on this truck. Some of them I'm gonna throw to the steers because, you know, those ones that are testing 30%, I don't really want to throw them on the truck here. So